Hi there. Good evening. Thanks for coming tonight, and I'm sorry I couldn't be here physically with you. I am actually at my daughter's back to school night, which I have not been able to attend in several years because I've always been here at James Wood. This year, especially, she wanted me to meet her teachers. She's very excited about them. She's a junior in high school at Sharando. Try not to hold that against her. So that's where I am tonight. I am your child's personal finance and economics teacher this year, and your child happened to be in the best class they could be in for that. Why, you ask? Because I'm so wonderful at teaching personal finance and economics? No, that's not it. However, I do teach food and nutrition, and there just happens to be a kitchen close by, and so I have promised my students that they will indeed get to use the kitchen this year as part of their finance class. We will use it for things like talking about healthy eating, because if you are not healthy, then chances are you're not going to be able to work. And if you're not working, you're not earning. And when you're not earning, that's bad news, not only for that person, but really for society as well. So we'll be talking about that. And then toward the end of the year, we'll also be in there when we talk about budgeting for food. And they will actually have a scenario in which they have a family situation and an income situation, and they have a budget for a meal, and they will plan out the meal, and then we'll actually go to the store and they will purchase the items for their meal and see if they actually came within their budget, and then we get to come back and make it and eat it. And then there are some other times we'll be talking about consumerism, where we will probably be making brownies, and we'll get some Ghirardelli brownie mix, and we'll get the store brownie mix, and we'll get Pillsbury brownie mix, and they'll do a blind taste test to see if there really is a difference between the three different tiers of brownie mixes. And then there are also a couple of other little things along the way. So if you're wondering if they've come home and they haven't talked about how we haven't done anything in finance yet, that's because we've been following our regular safety and sanitation lessons for the students to be able to work in the kitchen safely. But never fear, we are going to start our finance unit starting next week. Something different I'm also doing this year is, instead of separating personal finance and economics, I'm going to be integrating economics into finance all year long. So they'll actually get a whole year of personal finance, because I truly believe that that is really what the kids are going to need to know. Those are things that you and I have already lived through. Things like getting a checking account, a savings account, renting an apartment, buying a home, buying a car, buying a used car, insurance kinds of things. Just the everyday practical budgeting, everyday practical things that you and I have lived for an untold number of years now. Mortgages, what happened, credit cards, what happens when you go into debt, how do you get out of debt, what about identity theft? Those are unfortunate things that happen in our world now, and a lot of people are in debt right now. College or high school students are afraid to go to college because of the student debt that they might incur, and worried about being able to pay it back. So we're going to be talking about a lot of those things. And then integrated into that, though, we'll be talking about economics and talking about those things where it fits into the personal finance portion. At the end of the year, then, they will take a credentialing test. It's called the WISE Financial Fitness Test, or WISE Credentialing Test. I'm not sure the exact name, but they'll be taking that test. If you're unaware, students now have to have one credentialing test in order to graduate. So these students in personal finance and economics will take the WISE personal finance test. And Hopefully everybody should do, since we'll have an entire year talking about finance, all of them will do very well and will earn their credential. That's what we're going to aim for. But some of the students may have already taken a workplace readiness test, or maybe they've taken a Microsoft test. Those are all examples of different credentialing tests that they can take for toward their graduation requirement. How I grade in this class is we will be taking tests. I prefer projects over tests. I think that's a more of a true telling of their abilities to actually put things into practice. Multiple choice tests are just kind of a necessary evil, but I don't really, I'm not, some people just don't test well. That's why I believe more in the project approach. And so hopefully we will have more projects than actual tests in our class, so that they can, experience doing the real thing and going through the steps of, for instance, they will actually find a vehicle that they want to buy, and they will fill out a loan application, and they will follow through the insurance procedures, how they would get insurance, about how much it would be. They will go through the process of getting a loan, and based on an income, different tiers of loans that they could get, for the amount of years. And then of course we'll also talk about the interest rates on those loans. But anyway, that's more the practical kinds of things I want to do with them. So so a lot of their, or half of their grades are going to be those projects, which will count as test grades and tests. And then the other stuff is just going to be regular classroom work. Speaking of which, I don't ordinarily give homework. The only time except for the very first assignment, there is homework because they're interviewing parents, friends about personal finance. Other than that, though, I tend not to give homework. I know they've got plenty of other homework in their other classes, and I don't want to add to that. So they will get plenty of time to do their classwork. So if they're not goofing off in class, they should not have homework. Now, the only exception to that is, of course, if they are absent, then they will have to do that work at home. But life for them here in personal finance should not be difficult. I try to make it, as pleasurable as I possibly can. This is a required class also for graduation, and I fully applaud Virginia for making that mandate that personal finance. I'm not so sure about economics, but certainly personal finance is necessary today. Wish I had had it when I was in high school. I would have saved myself a lot of trouble and money, probably. The other thing is, I'll let you know about our cell phone policy. If you can see on the door, it would be to your right. If you're looking at me, you'll see a shoe rack. That's not really what it's called, but that I call that my cell phone tower. And I have asked the kids, for their benefit and for mine, to place their cell phones in the cell phone tower, I call it. And if they choose not to, then they must keep it out of sight. And I tell them, if I see it, it's mine for the day. You can come get it at the end of the day. So you as parents, I wanted to make you aware in case your kids are calling home and say, the teacher took my cell phone. That's probably why. In years past, my policy was that I keep it until a parent comes and picks it up. I've changed a little bit this year. They can come get it at the end of the day. With their new Chromebooks, they don't really need cell phones. All right, I see that I'm just about at the end of I think we have a 10-minute time. There's some paperwork on the table. Please read it. If you have any questions, please fill out that paper that's on the desk and put it on there should be a basket on my desk. And again, I apologize for not being able to be here to meet you in person, but I do thank you for coming and being interested in what your students doing here at school. So have a great rest of the night, and I'll answer your questions as soon as I can get to them. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.